Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight, the moment you've all been waiting for, the main event of the evening, or day. Finally, our first look at the California. Now, let's get looking at our commander. We've got William Sims, Andrew Cunningham, and Henry Hyde as our two commanders. We've got flammable cannoneer, we've got gyrating drill bits, marksmanship, emergency specialist, not reaching out because fire starters are a thing. Deal with it. Will to rebuild. Okay? And then on top of that, if you look at our loadout, we're running secondary battery mod 2, and there's a specific reason for that. And it is simply, I do not want to lose main battery reload time because it's already horrendous for this tier at 30 seconds. So we don't want to be even longer than 30 seconds. I believe it goes up to 34 seconds if you take main battery mod 2 for the little bit of extra turret traverse that you get. Honestly, turret traverse has never been an issue for me personally because I always seem to have the guns where I need them when I need them. So I'd rather turn my ship than my guns most of the time. Anyway. So that's a thing. And then, of course, we've got Damage Control System Mod 2 for that extra damage control because, again, fires are a thing. Now, if we look at the loadout, we're running the spotter plane. I've got all of the boosters. We're running Community Contributor Flag and the permanent camo that you get when you unlock this through the Bureau. Okay, you unlock the California through the Bureau's Red, White, and Blue project. So if you're wondering where I got the ship, there you go. Now, one thing I will say is a bummer about the Red, White, and Blue project is you get all the way to the end project, and suddenly there are 10 instead of 5 stages. So keep that in mind. The very last one that is for the ship is 10 new segments instead of stages instead of segments. I don't know how they break it up. Anyway, hit points 63,350 hit points, which I haven't looked. I'm not going to say is good or bad, but it seems pretty good considering my Iowa at Tier 7 with this commander loadout gets 76,000. So we are only 13,000 hit points less than the Iowa. She has a 40% torpedo damage reduction because she is thick with 3 Cs, not even 2. We got to add an extra C for this one. If Alabama's thick with 2 Cs, California's thick with maybe even 4. We might have to say 4 Cs, because good God, she got junk in her trunk. 356 millimeter Mark 50 or 50 caliber Mark 7 guns, the same as the New Mexico. Firing range 17.3 kilometers because we don't have the reaching out XXL. We went for damage con. 180 degree turn time is 40 seconds, which is not good particularly. So keep that in mind. HE shell damage 5,000 with a 30% chance to set fires. 11,550 damage with a Citadel. Secondary armament, you've essentially got, a United States destroyer hanging off either side of this thing. It's got guns, is what I'm saying. It's got 16 of them, four double turrets on either side. So keep that in mind. 127 millimeter guns. It's the normal thing. The only problem is, even with our extended range, we can only get the firing range up to 4.8 kilometers. You could do more with that if you want to put, say, Hipper. I think it's Hipper. Yeah, I think it's Hipper as your inspiration. You could pump that up above 5. But honestly, there's no real need to. I'd rather have the health. Now, we didn't go into the rest. Maneuverability, 19 knots. Feels very similar to any of the Tier 5 battleships except for the Bayern, because Bayern's actually fast. Everything else is pretty... I guess the French battleships are pretty quick too. So everything else, pretty slow. Queen Elizabeth, Warspite, New Mexico, Arizona, all very slow ships. So you're used to being under 20 knots most of the time. Rudder shift of 16.2 seconds. Turning radius for a battleship, guys. Think about this. A battleship with a turning circle of 640 meters. That's insane. That's because she's thick. Alright? She's real thick. I can't say it enough. But yeah, she turns really, really well for a battleship. Concealment. What is that? You're in a battleship. 13.5 kilometers, which is actually decent for battleships. 11.3 by air. 2 guaranteed, and of course the detectability while firing in smoke, because every battleship needs to know their detectability while firing in smoke is 12.2 kilometers. Now, the overview. She's agile. She turns very, very well. Ironclad, above average armor thickness. You can say that again. Greater resistance to all forms of armor penetration. Now, I don't necessarily agree with this, but I do know that you can be broadside quite a bit in this and not necessarily take citadel hits. You're still going to be taking a lot of penetrations if you're broadside on in this thing. But if you, yeah. Bow tanking is interesting in this ship because, are you really bow tanking? Pretty sure that you could put a Fletcher in here broadside on and it wouldn't make it from side to side on this ship. Oh my god. Look at those hips. Now you can see the massive torpedo belt on this thing. As you can see the pieces sticking out there. And then of course the hull gets really wide where they strapped some extra AA on here. Our secondary guns, our dual purpose secondary guns. They actually help with the AA, but you can see she got quite the AA suite above her. We don't get the stats for that, but trust me, once the carriers come out, this ship is going to have all the planes getting shot down. Because she got AA, especially this low tier. Anyway, a Tennessee-class battleship armed with 12 356mm guns, possessing quite modest speed characteristics. After Pearl Harbor, she underwent a thorough refurbishment, which significantly changed the ship's design and greatly enhanced her AA defenses. She entered service in 1921, and there were 2 of them built. Given that it's called a Tennessee class battleship, I'm assuming the other was the Tennessee. Somebody gonna have to let me know in the comments below because I'm just making that up. But it's called a Tennessee class, so I'm assuming there was a Tennessee battleship that's similar to the California. Anyway, with that being said, let's take a look at her. Like I said, she's a thick girl, man. There ain't no getting around this. I'm pretty sure I've seen her in Walmart, is all I'm saying. Anyway, all jokes aside, she is a good-looking ship, even if she is fat. I mean, I'm not even going to say she's thick anymore. She is fat. Look at that. Nasty. So if you like what I'm doing, let's get to the gameplay. Alrighty, so I don't normally do this, but there are specific ships throughout history that deserve to be recognized, and this is one of them. The California was moored in Pearl Harbor on December 7, 1941, when the Japanese attacked the port, bringing the United States into World War II. This ship was moderately damaged by a pair of torpedoes and a bomb, but a fire disabled the ship's electrical system, preventing the pumps from being used to keep the ship afloat. California slowly filled with water over the following 3 days and eventually sank. Her crew suffered heavy casualties in the attack, and 4 men were awarded the Medal of Honor for their actions during the attack. She was raised in April 1942, repaired and heavily rebuilt, and returned to service in 1944. Like I said, I don't normally do that for all the ships because it's you know, not always easy to find information. However, the California is a pretty, well-known ship, and it's a testament to the United States' resolve after Pearl Harbor, because this ship was sunk, and she wasn't the only ship that was sunk, and then they were raised, repaired, and put back into service in a short amount of time. Meaning that even though the attack on Pearl Harbor was extremely devastating, at the end of the day, it sealed the fate of World War II. Because once the Americans jumped in, everybody started winning their match. That's just the way it is. So if you think about Africa, if you think about Italy or the Mediterranean, if you think about the invasions on the Western Front, like, once the Americans were fully committed into helping the Allies, it was pretty much sealed, because the manufacturing capabilities of the United States far surpassed everybody involved in the war. Like, so I mean, it was destiny that we were going to end up coming out on the winning side. But we wanted to stay neutral. I don't know why. I mean, we now know what was going on, right? Everybody, but it's hard to tell. You know, you see all of the things that were going on in World War II, and you see, like, in history, the events that were playing out in Europe and Africa, and you're like, how could the United States stay neutral for so long? You know, why did they have to get attacked before they stepped in? But that's coming from a spoiled brat that grew up, you know, from the 80s on, so I don't know. Like, the answers to that, I just don't know. Probably had something to do with World War I, but that should also be another testament to why you should... Oh my God, Bayern just got touched. 6 penetrations, 2 overpins, and we took half his health in 1 salvo. Anyway, so I don't want to get too historical based here, because this is a meet the ship, and so we need to talk about the ship. Other than the fact that she's dummy thick and she's just fantastic. I will say this: if you've played the New Mexico and you like the New Mexico, you're gonna like the California. It is an extension, basically, of the New Mexico. So if you've played it, you'll play this and you'll like this. Again, it's in the Bureau. If you're not 100% sure what I'm talking about, go to the Bureau tab. We get our first kill on the Bayern there. And you can research it through the Red, White, and Blue project. Anyway, we've still got a Leander out here in a smoke screen. We've got the Ishmael out here. We've had a couple games in this thing. Some pretty decent games in this. But the one that I was thinking about featuring was the match prior to this. And I was like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of dead air in there. It was a pretty boring match, even though we had a good result. I mean, we had a very good result. But it ended up with us chasing a ship all the way across the map. And when I say she's slow, I'm not joking. Now, we get out here. We punch the Leander right there, taking about a third of his health. No big deal. And we are going... did I mention that we're bottom tier here? We're tier 5 in a tier 6 lobby. Now, there's not a whole lot of tier 6s, but it is worth mentioning we are not top tier. But it doesn't really matter in the New Mexico or the, you know, the California in this case, or the Arizona, because they are very tanky, just by design. They're very good ships, and they pack a lot of firepower. Those 14-inch guns that they hold, they're pretty nasty. They're relatively accurate, not the most accurate guns in the world. They do sometimes give you that German dispersion occasionally, where they just go wherever the heck they want, and you're just like, guys, the ship is right there. How did you miss it? Go home, you're drunk. But no, Arizona actually gets him a kill on the other side with a devastating strike, which is not preferable for us. But just goes to show you that you can't really sleep on American battleships in this game. It doesn't matter what tier, doesn't matter how good you think you got it. Just when you think that you're gonna get away, the Americans come through and punch you right in the mouth. As this Ishmael is about to find out. Wait for it. Pow! Now, once I get you sighted in, if you do not change direction, if you do not change course, if you are not changing speed, doing something to make me miss, you're in a world of hurt. Because these 50 caliber guns are very good anti-battleship guns. And, yeah, I mean, do you really need to know how this goes? Oh, yeah, that's all. Just all of his health belongs to me. 5 penetrations, 1 more Citadel, and then just throwing an extra one with the rear gun for the heck of it. Or whichever gun that was, I didn't pay attention. One of our guns got knocked out, so that was the one that was lagging behind. But don't worry! There's nobody to shoot for a minute, so we got to carry our big booty around this island, and then you're going to get to see what can only be described as those YouTube videos where 2 people have those, what do you call them, the giant bouncy balls. You know what I'm talking about? They're like the giant rubber balls, like 3 feet wide, and they run at each other and smash into each other and they go flying. Well, this is what happens when 2 ships do that, and one of them is an immovable object such as California. And one of them is a small battleship, aka the Scharnhorst. Speaking of Scharnhorst, hello. How you doing, sunshine? Wait for it. Now, on the Scharnhorst, you're not really going for citadels, so you want to try to hit as many shots as possible, hence why I was aiming further up the side of the ship, and we get our high caliber right there. Now, as you can see, the Scharnhorst behind me is running into me, and he's going to get deflected off and go right into the side of this island. It's just not fair, is it, buddy? You thought that you could get through, you were wrong, and now you're about to run aground. That's all right, don't worry, I got this. Let your sailors go on shore leave. We got this. Now, we're at 3 kills right now. We have wiped out everything on our side of the map. We had some help. I'm not saying we did it all. But we got 104,000 damage already with 3 citadels and 3 kills. So it's not like we haven't done anything and got all 3 kills. No, we've carried our side pretty heavily, even if we did have help. But, as you can see, there's a wall of skill heading in our direction. Now, the good God. The California is very good at turning. However, unfortunately, I turned a little too much, and we overturned right back into the torpedoes for the first torpedo that we have, and the second torpedo that we have. Now, the first one did more damage because it didn't hit the torpedo reduction belt. The second one did hit the torpedo reduction belt, so it was decidedly less powerful. Luckily, they're launched by this moss. Now, this moss goes undetected from us, which is unfortunate, but that moss and this Scharnhorst are going to really irritate me. Now, this Scharnhorst shouldn't be living right now. There's multiple cruisers. There's 2 battleships here that are shooting at him. He should be gone, and he is gone. But he took out both of our cruisers. Well, I guess the Atlanta finished off our Dallas. But they managed to take out both of our cruisers. And that leaves 2 battleships and a destroyer versus a destroyer, cruiser, and a battleship. Now, luckily for me, our destroyer spots the enemy Atlanta. And unfortunately for this guy, I can only assume that this guy just got this ship in the Black Friday thing. So he's about to learn the hard way that angled cruisers versus 50 caliber armor piercing do not end well. And I don't even think he saw that coming. Like, he was lit up. He's like, it's fine. It's a destroyer. I'll find him and I'll kill him. Nope, you're dead. Go back to port. And did I mention? That's our Kraken. Yeah, what's Kraken? Us. We're Kraken. That's a stupid joke. I apologize. Arizona. Out there just getting things done. It's time for us to duel. You get the reference? Awesome. If not, I'm old. But probably not as old as some of you who probably are like, I don't get the reference either, and I'm old. Well, there you go. If you're too old, you probably won't get the reference, and if you're too young, you probably won't get the reference. Arizona, however, is going to test his armor against my 50 caliber guns. Now, if you remember, the Arizona has the same size guns as we do as far as being 14-inch guns. However, the Arizona has 45 caliber guns. We have 50 caliber guns. Now, what does that mean in a duel? It means I get more penetration than him, I get higher velocity on my shells than him, and it just means that if you go broadside to me, you're far more likely to receive bad things in a battleship from these 50 caliber guns than you are if you're broadside to an Arizona. Though the Arizona is fully capable of paddling battleships as well. It's not a joke. But as you can see, he's angled relatively decently, and we're about to eat some more torpedoes. But it's a good thing that we're dummy thick, because it doesn't really matter. We take all the torpedoes. No, we've only taken 4. But we've taken 4 torpedoes in this, and we're still afloat. Not only are we still afloat, but we're still afloat with about a little over a third of our hit points left. And you can see we are just going to reach out and touch this Arizona for being broadside. I mean, you just can't do this, buddy. You just can't. Meanwhile, I'm very similarly angled against him, and he was just firing at our Scharnhorst. Now, right about now, everybody on the team starts to celebrate. All right? There's one person on this team that understands that there is still a destroyer left, and that he is definitely try-harding right now. I'm still detected. Scharnhorst is still detected. I'm going to assume that I'm going to get torped here, so I'm going to turn away from the threat. Well, how do you know where he's at? I don't. But I'm assuming he's close to where he was last spotted, out in that direction. So I'm going to turn away from him. And that gives me plenty of opportunities to avoid him. Now, the Scharnhorst, to his credit, has started to turn a little bit, but I think it's a day late and $1 short for him, as you're about to find out in, I don't know, 3, 2, 1. No? I was wrong. Anyway, we're starting to all celebrate. We're having a good time. I realize that there's still a destroyer out there, and I want to put as much room between me and him as possible, because I know that that destroyer has mid-range torpedoes. Which means, as he gets a devastating strike on our Scharnhorst, that I need to be sailing away from the destroyer. Because if I'm sailing away, he can't torp me. Funny how that works. And if he does try to torp me, he's going to get detected. Now, the Moss, to his credit, just nuked our Scharnhorst and is already in position to engage our destroyer. Now you're going to see one of the worst shots on a destroyer I have ever made, and this is more of a credit to the Moss. He's already turning. He's dodging me. Like, this guy knows what he's doing. He's doing everything in his power to win this match for his team, and he takes down our Asashio. Good news is, we have the points lead still. We have 4 out of the 4 keps, which means we are gaining all the points, and he is not, which means all I have to do to win is go away. So, I don't know if you guys see the island at the, like, very center bottom of the mini-map up there. I figure, let's just give our guys some shore leave. They've earned it. I mean, we've killed 5 ships in this battle. We've got 4 citadels. We've done 144,000 damage done. And we are now detected by a destroyer. But this is the frustrating part for you if you are in this position where the destroyer is right now. You've done so well. And the last remaining enemy on the enemy team for you actually knows what he's doing. And you see, I start trolling my teammates right here. Nobody was talking in this match that I remember. Maybe I muted them. I don't remember if this is one. But I just start trolling everybody in this. I'm not going to lie. So there's 30 seconds left in the match. We're not going to lose. And I'm just sailing off into the sunset to give my sailors a chance. And I'm even trolling the destroyer to start open fire. Like, go ahead, shoot me. Go ahead. Now, I made sure that I did that so that I would have enough time to get reloaded just in case. But, yeah, it doesn't really matter. He doesn't fire his guns at me. Probably isn't even in range to fire his guns at me at this point. And we're just sailing off into the sunset. But she does look good sailing away, doesn't she? She looks real good sailing away. Until you get an overhead view and you realize that that thing is literally as wide as Boston. Anyway, so, yeah. We end up having a pretty good game. We got a Kraken unleashed. I liked the ship. I liked the New Mexico, so why wouldn't I like this ship? It's better than the New Mexico. It's got torp reduction. It turns better. It's just a good ship. Top of the leaderboard, 2,700 base XP, and the Moss coming in there with 3 kills of his own. Top of the leaderboard for his team. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.